Master parenting in minutes, even when your children learn in very different ways.
Lil Bits.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I'm one half of the founding team of Little Bits of Language and a mom of two. Now, why does that matter to you? Well, I'm an experienced specialist in the development of kids. And even with all of the knowledge that I have from my degrees and from my experience, I still struggle with teaching my children things, especially at the same time, because of their very different skill levels. I have an almost 6-year-old who's very talkative, picks things up quickly, and is very curious. And I have an almost 3.5-year-old who's currently nonverbal, has been diagnosed as on the spectrum, and needs more repetition before gaining certain skills in certain areas. So that's why today we're going to talk about 3 easy ways that you can hack parenting like a pro without wasting extra time or money and still making sure that your children are trying to hit those developmental milestones when typically expected. Before we get into the bulk of today's video, be sure to like and subscribe this video and share it with fellow parents that might find it useful. You can also find us on different social media platforms as well as our website, littlebitsoflanguage.com. You can find all of those web addresses below in the caption, so be sure to check those out. It's free. We give resources, information, all of that at your fingertips without any extra cost, so please do check that out. Now let's get into today's topic. Now, our agenda is short today, and that's on purpose. We want this to be achievable for you and something that's quick and easy and doesn't cost a lot of money. So the 3 things we're going to go over is identifying personalities, or better yet, learning styles of your children. And the second thing we're going to talk about is how to involve the whole family in that. It takes a village. And even if your village is 2 people, 4 people, 16 people, 37 people, however big that village is, you want to put it to good use. And the last thing we'll talk about is spreading attention equitably amongst the children so that you can teach them in different ways because they might prefer one way or the other. So that's something to think about. And make sure you stay tuned after that to get more information, more links, more resources at your disposal that you can use and are at the touch of your fingers. This way you don't miss out on any future topics that we discuss. Now, the first part of the process that we talked about today was navigating the different personalities and learning styles that your children might have. And don't forget, they could have similarities too. So as I mentioned, I have 2 children, and one that's nearing 6, one that's about 3.5. They both learn very differently. My 6-year-old's very interested in the whys of things. My son is very interested in the repetitions that we do and the trials that we do before we gain a new skill. So you want to keep these things in mind and think on it. Think of the things that they overlap on and the things they're different at. If there's an activity that they both really like, use that activity, but pull them in different ways. For my daughter, maybe we're using, kinetic sand, and we might talk about, well, why does this stick together? Why would someone want to construct with this? Why is this a helpful toy? Whereas my son, we might be doing over and over, pour, squish, over and over and over, pour, squish, just to build. And so it's something that they can both enjoy while they're also learning in different ways. Now, that's a good point that I bring up on that just because it relates to our website. We do have a list on there in case you're ever wondering, well, what are toys that they might like at a certain age? So do feel free to go check that. I don't know how many times I get asked. I'm going to go to a birthday party for my cousin's niece who's this year many years old, and I don't know what to get them. These are things that we have handpicked as speech therapists that relate to the developmental levels and the skills that you should see at certain ages. So be sure to go check that out. The second thing that we're going to talk about today is how to make the whole family be involved in any of these different learning styles or teaching things or having the children be involved. My biggest recommendation is to make it almost like a date night thing. It's something where your family goes out, preferably once a week. And I say goes out, meaning like does something. So even if it's at home and you make it a special night where everybody's together, I think that's absolutely perfect. So you want to make sure that it's something where parents can be involved. If there's anyone else that lives with you, grandparents, extended family, someone who's by you, something where you all go out and do something together. And the important part of this is to be present. Don't, sit on screens and all of that. It's not just physically meant to be together, it's mentally. And the more your children have that support and they know they can go to someone who teaches them things or they can ask questions to, the more you'll really seal in any of that learning that you're going to be going over. So be sure to make that a priority. I know time can be short. I know how stressful it can be. I have a very busy schedule as well as a parent, as a full-time speech therapist, and as a business owner as well. But it's something that we make sure, my husband and I, that we carve into. Once a week, we go out for at least 2 to 3 hours with the kiddos, whether it's to a park or even to play in the backyard or to go out to eat or just something that we can do that just takes up that small amount of time that we can spend to really bond together. And I promise you, it will go really far when it comes to teaching your children these other skills and other things they can be exposed to. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about today, as far as our main topics goes, is how to share attention with your children equitably or equally if it works out that way, and how to keep them from resenting each other. So, my example is that I have a almost 6-year-old who's very verbal, is very curious, likes learning about things, and then we have an almost 3.5-year-old in our family who's nonverbal, has been diagnosed on the spectrum, and needs a lot of repetition and honestly a lot of attention. He's sensory seeking, and it's something that when mom comes home, he very much wants to be glommed onto mom, which I can love and also sometimes feel overstimulated with when I'm coming home from a long day. And it's something that my daughter constantly is like, well, why does he get that? Why does he get time with you? I want this. And it often feels very unfair for her. And so we've done a lot of verbal reminders of just this is why, it's because he learns this way and it's something we can help with. And you can be a part of it too. So rather than it be, he's with mommy right now and you have to go find something else to do, instead I explain, well, it looks like he's really wanting some big squeezes right now. His body's really craving that. You know what? You can help me do that too. And I bring her into the actual activity itself. And then it helps him bond with her and vice versa. And so it doesn't feel so much like mommy's just giving attention to one or the other. We can all do that together. So that was why I kind of brought up the last point of doing family outings and events together, is because then it's more of a bond and it's more of a group activity and something to do together rather than, oh, this person gets that and I don't get this, and so on and so forth. Another thing that could be helpful is, say it is a time. Maybe there was recently a time where my son had a fever and he was very, very needy, rightfully so. And so I really needed to pay extra attention to him. And for my daughter, it was like, hey, can you just give me this time? We had a visual timer. I can set it. Give me this time to be with him and make sure he's okay. And at the end, I would love to come check in with you and see if you still want to spend time with me. And then we can go ahead and do something with just me and you. And then this way it had her go ahead, and she had to wait, but she's old enough to wait and she's old enough to understand that. And I use that to my advantage. This is her learning style. This is something that she can understand. Let me go ahead and explain it to her this way. And then my son can still get what he needs. She can still get what she needs. And I can have it something where it incorporates the whole family together and we can all still get through that time and learn from each other without sacrificing anything from the other. So if you need any help with that, something I would really recommend is a visual timer. We have one up on our website. It's great. When you turn the dial, it shows red as far as the time that you have left, and then it'll start to clock down and shows it getting smaller and smaller. This is super helpful for even my son, who again is nonverbal, maybe doesn't understand as much when it comes to receptively explaining. We have 15 minutes left. We have 10 minutes left. He can visually see the timer running out. And then at the end, it beeps and it tells him, okay, that time is done. And then this way he knows it's time to move on to something else. And that's been very helpful with establishing a routine of like, okay, that time is over and we can move on to something else. I know that's a lot of information, but in a very short bulleted list. And that's on purpose. Because again, I want you to be able to watch through this list, get through it, get the information in and out, and be able to use it. If you have more questions on this, please do leave it in the comments. We are happy to explain more. We just know it's easier to digest information for you where you can watch it on the go and it's something you can get into your head quickly and be able to put to use. So if you'd like more information, let us know. You can also find us on social media, be able to answer more questions there. So head over to our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anywhere where it's comfortable for you. And you can go ahead and ask those questions there and we can be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. So we appreciate you in this time of information. Stick around for a little bit more. We're almost done. And we appreciate your time so far. I mentioned the do not miss opportunity at the beginning. This is it. This is where you want to go ahead and follow the links in our caption. Make sure you go to our social media and find us there. Follow, like the post. This makes sure that you regularly have access to all the free information and resources that we're giving out to you. We do this out of our own way of noticing, hey, we need this information. We can't find it anywhere. So that's from us to you to save you that extra time and money. So be sure you follow up on that. Now remember, today we talked about the 3 easy things: how to figure out how your children like to learn and enjoy their time with you, how to involve the whole family, and then how to share attention across siblings even though they're learning in different ways. So those 3 things, quick and easy, that can actually pay off in dividends when it comes to teaching your children and enjoying more time with them together. That's productive in helping them learn and helping them hit their developmental milestones. See y'all in the next one.
Lil Bits.